This social justice, racial justice, cultural Marxist garbage, everything's racist and sexist and all these other things, this is communism. You don't see it because they don't use the same words that Lenin and Stalin used, but it's called cultural Marxism, and it's infecting this entire society. Whenever you hear people talking like this, talking like Joe Biden talks, then you know that's what it is.
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay, he doesn't believe that. It doesn't matter. They've figured it out. The Soviets figured it out a long time ago. Nobody is allowed to talk about this. They figured out a long time ago. Wait a minute. Americans are really sensitive to this racist thing. We can absolutely use that to worm our way through everything we want. And they did it. And they did it. You have pastors now preaching it from the pulpit. I left my own church about a year ago after St. George Floyd was killed. Pastor gets right up, starts talking about white privilege. I have white privilege. Peace. See ya. Never be back. It's everywhere now. It's everywhere. They can't bring themselves to stop doing it because it's so good, especially for the Democratic Party. It's so good for them. Every time they get you miserable and divided and fighting each other over stupid things like skin color, they gain more power every single time. They can't even criticize the domestic terrorist group Black Lives Matter.
No one can tell me that if had been a group of Black Lives Matter protesting yesterday, they wouldn't have been treated very, very differently than the mob of thugs that stormed the Capitol. We all know that's true. And it is unacceptable. Totally unacceptable.
Why do you think they do it? Why do you think they're constantly picking at the scab and picking at the scab and picking at the scab? And these old rich white people don't care about black people. Why do you think they do it? Because they know the more we're miserable and divided, the more we won't realize they're the ones that are screwing over the entire country. They never stop. And look, it would be one thing if this was just so they could win a congressional seat or even the presidential election. That's fine. But back to what I was talking about in the beginning. No, this infection doesn't stop until you stop it. It's in your FBI. It's in your military. And it's destroying us. And you're not going to know how bad it is until it's way, way too late. You remember what he talked about when he talked about George Floyd the other day?
Those 8 minutes and 46 seconds that took George Floyd's life opened the eyes of millions of Americans and millions of people around all over the world. It was the knee on the neck of justice, and it wouldn't be forgotten. It stirred the conscience and of tens of millions of Americans. And in my view, it marked a turning point in this country's attitude toward racial justice.
Racial justice. And you know what's so sad? What's so sad is so many people have been taught this for so long. I call them communists and they come back. I'm not a communist. They don't even know what they are. They don't realize it. They've just been told their entire lives, you're a victim or you're an oppressor, this is divided or America's racist, and they don't realize they've just become a tool to give the left more power.